Boga.
Welcome back to Unstable. This is the 47th episode, and we're coming off of, I guess, Victory Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Uh,
All the days.
yeah, got a busy schedules, kind of hard to align it, new work schedule and everything. It's, kind of putting a delay on things, but here we are, recapping a really good game. It was at least very entertaining. With me, as always, is Justin, Kingmaker underscore DFF. How are you doing, man?
Man, doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Had a little family rivalry. Got a cousin who's a diehard Patriots fan, so that was fun. Getting to talk a lot of mess back and forth. So we got the bragging rights for until the next time.
Yeah. I saw a picture of a lady in the stands just as they scored the 2-point conversion. She's sitting there like got a smirk, and there's some mad fans in the background. Oh, it's such a nice little video.
Yeah. I know why you mad.
Do a little housekeeping before we dive in. We are at 73 subscribers. We're trying to hit 100. We did finally break that 69 joke. But yeah, we're sitting at 73. Got 27 to go to 100. Help us get there. Hit that button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. Always like and comment. I mean, we've had pretty active comments the last few pods, so it's been fun interacting with people.
Hell yeah. Always fun.
Absolutely. And man, all I can say really about this, or there's a lot I can say about this game, but all I can really say, thank God the Patriots are so terrible in the red zone. That's all I really got to say, man, about them. I think Drake May had a really good game. Even the interception wasn't really on him. The defense for the Colts was pretty abysmal throughout. Aside from that one interception, man, they were really lucky it wasn't like a 50-20 blowout. Like the score could have been a lot higher.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But thankfully, I think they committed almost 90 yards of penalties, which most of them came all in the red zone. So I think there was like one pass interference that they had on Pittman. I think it was on the last drive. But other than that, it was pretty much all red zone penalties. Really helped out the Colts defense. And as a result, they were able to hold them to 3 a couple of times. So, and then I think they also shanked like a 20 or 30 yarder. So, man, they were bad in the red zone. So we're definitely thankful for that. Kind of saved their season, the Colts season.
Oh yeah.
Right now they're sitting at about a 25% chance or so, 26 to make the playoffs. They need, even if they win out, they need help to do it. But I mean, this keeps them in the hunt. So it's nice that we're not having to look to the draft just yet.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves on that. Let's try and salvage what we can. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And we got the Gremlin in, and he was on the AFC South pod yesterday. He's a Texans fan, but man, he's a faithful fan.
You know what they say?
Even us, man, and I appreciate it.
Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. He's just tapping in to see what the adversary, the AFC South, is doing.
Yeah, he knows that. I mean, Gus Bradley doesn't listen to us for shit, but maybe Steichen is starting to. When I talk about the Colts defense, we have like 3 players in the top 5 when it comes to overall tackles, but they also lead the league in missed tackles. So it's, they're missing a lot of tackles. It's extending drives, and it's just leaving more opportunities for Zaire to rack those numbers up.
The tackles are nice, but the missed tackles are worse, I think. I mean, if you're looking at it from from a real game standpoint, not just padding the stats or Pro Bowl votes, things like that. The missed tackles are speak more volume.
Yeah. And we all know Zaire Franklin. I don't think he gets any of the respect that he deserves. He's, I think, one of the top linebackers in the game. This is the last like 2, 3 seasons or so where he's led the league or been very close to it in tackles. And a lot of them are meaningful. I mean, he had 2 sacks in this game, well, sack and a half, but they're tackles for losses. They're impactful. It's the like EJ Speed that's had a lot of missed tackles. It's
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because tackle for losses. I mean, yeah, okay, you may not have got the sack, but that's still a negative play, though. I mean, you still got to be able to get the running back behind the line, the catching the wide receiver behind the line on a screen pass, something like that.
yeah,
I mean, all that stuff affects momentum,
yeah,
So especially in a screen pass, I mean, you want to shut that down. That's usually pretty money as far as completion goes, but we're starting to see it's not as successful a play as it used to be, just because defenses are getting smarter, coordinators are getting smarter. But yeah, those tackles for losses for 100%, they're crucial. They're crucial.
mm-hmm. It seemed like they did a lot of it in this game. They did sack him, I think, 4 times. It just didn't feel like it. It really felt like Drake May had all day. But they did get some sacks. Like I said, Zaire had a sack and a half. It seemed like Latu was kind of close on one of them. He just didn't get home on it. But yeah, these front four are doing everything they can to get sacks. It's just Gus Bradley just will not change his defensive scheme for anything.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to see, the first half, Drake May kind of shredding him, and then nothing changes in the second half. And they also let him run for almost 200 yards in this game, so it's not like they were shutting down the run either. It's just like I said, Patriots just couldn't deliver in the red zone. Um, but it looks like they have their quarterback of the future in New England. I think Drake May has looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
They look. We were talking about on this AFC South show. Patriots are that very scrappy team, and they're they've been giving teams a run for their money in these games. So, and this one wasn't any different, man. Um, Colts had a little lead in the first quarter. They lost it going into the half, and like I said, it was kind of a blessing that they were so awful. But I just don't want to be so negative. Like the defense just. I'm okay giving up 24 points to the Lions. I'm not okay with it to the Patriots.
No, this team is not the Lions by any stretch of the
No.
imagination. There's no reason why that should ever happen.
Yeah.
And I mean total disrespect to the Patriots.
Yeah. Absolute disrespect to the
Patriots. Fuck Tom Brady.
Fuck Tom Brady. Yeah, I think this is like the first time the Colts won in Foxboro in like, what is it, almost 20 years. I think they beat them in a home game, but it was like in London. So that doesn't really count.
Little asterisk on that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a minute since this has happened. So that was nice to see. I really was hoping that the Colts were going to just kind of trounce the Patriots. Obviously, it didn't happen. That's kind of what you were thinking too, Justin. I think you said like 30-10 or something like that.
I didn't expect it to be close at all. I didn't. Mm-hmm. Just the Patriots overall as a team are not good right now. No. So I think that just shows that we didn't really do that well scoring points or I mean, when you have 2 interceptions, that's not great.
Yeah. And I think I said it was 24-13 if I'm not mistaken. So I maybe a little bit closer than you, but not by much. But no, I mean, for good chunks of this game, like there's a couple of good drives there in the first and second quarter. Anthony Richardson ran a touchdown, passed for a touchdown to Jonathan Taylor. And man, that was a good throw. And I don't care what anybody says. The last few weeks, he's been a lot more accurate. He really has. I mean, if you want to stat watch and not actually watch the game, I mean that's on you. But if you watch this game, you would see, man, there was a lot more drops in this game.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating. I mean, you got to help the guy out, and especially right now, he's passing the ball a lot better. Yeah, he had a pick. I think the Patriot, I think it was a linebacker. I think he baited Anthony Richardson a little bit. It was kind of a similar play to, that week 1 against Jacksonville. Was it week 1? I can't remember. But either way, he kind of baited him, backed up, and kind of just forced him into the throw, thinking he was going to try to come in for the sack, drop back into coverage. Just, it was any quarterback would have made that, got tipped up, went to the defender. The other one, it was 100% on Anthony Richardson. It was just a bad read. Patriots corner just undercut the throw. But aside from that, I thought he was actually really accurate despite having a 50% completion. And you're gonna have performances like that, especially from a guy that it's basically still his rookie campaign, and you expect stuff like that.
Yeah, we didn't expect him to go out and light the world on fire. I mean, so well, you're right. I mean, what he's doing is good. He's showing good progress, even though he went 50% through the air. But I think that is not the way that they did the game plan. So we've been talking about the past couple shows using Anthony Richardson like the athlete he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've hit on that a number of times. I think that they're actually doing that because I noticed that Richardson actually did a lot more on the ground. I mean, with 9 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Anthony Richardson did what you want. So, and he got the PAT, the 2-point. I mean, not PAT, the 2-point to win the game. So this looks good because he can still do well on the ground. For a quarterback, 9 for 48 and a touchdown, plus a 2-point conversion running it, like that's amazing for a quarterback. That's kind of what Lamar puts up. You know what I mean? So you can't ask for much more on the ground as far as an athlete. Through the air, like look, we've never been shy about that. Through the air, he's got a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. But on the ground, he's doing well, especially if JT can still get 96 yards, on 25 carries. Mm-hmm. So if both of them can dominate on the ground, because look at that. That's JT 96 yards, AR 48 yards. JT had he had a receiving touchdown and AR had a rushing touchdown. That's dominance on the ground. Anytime you have a quarterback going close to 50 yards on the ground and a running back getting close to 100 yards on the ground and mix in a touchdown somewhere in there, that's dominance. Mm-hmm. So let's not beat around the bush here. Like they dominated on the ground. The air, we'll work on it. Look, man, two picks. Barely broke 100 yards. Went 50% through the air. Look, the kid, like we talked about, he's still essentially the rookie year because based on all the time he missed. So kid's got some time. Should you still have reservations? Yes. But look, he's trending in the right direction, right? That's where we want to see our stocks going up, Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that he's not someone that you can stat watch. Like he's not going to be the Peyton Manning, he's going to put up 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's just not going to be that kind of quarterback. He's not somebody you stat watch. If you want to see like what Anthony Richardson is and what he's capable of, just look at that last drive of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, the Patriots are a bad team, but it's still an NFL team, and no win in the NFL is ever easy. The Colts have kind of proven that this year. I mean, every single game outside of outside of really Detroit was a really close game. I mean, you could argue Buffalo, but every other game has been really, really close. So no win's easy. They've made it hard for a lot of other teams to beat them. So I'm not sure how because the defense is still not great. But I mean, Eric, you keep saying that, but our quarterback isn't injured, so I'm.
I mean, you got to be fair on that
trying to troll, and ours is on the field. What can I say? But if you want to look at the trajectory of Anthony Richardson, just look at that last drive. That was an NFL pro. That was a pro quarterback drive. I don't care what anybody says. The way that it went, the way he orchestrated it, that's everything you want to see in your quarterback. That last drive, that's perfect. Like you want to, there was some drop passes. It wasn't perfect from the offense, but he was on point that entire drive. There's a few big drops. Granson, I think, had a big one. I think was it AD had his drop on that drive too.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were right in the bucket, man. Granson maybe a little bit of an overthrow, but it still hit him in the hands.
right.
You still got to catch it.
That
So
that final drive, man, that you talk about, there's one
yeah,
word that comes to mind when I think about that, and that's capability.
hmm
And what I mean by that for the people at home watching is he's showing us what he's capable of. Now, are we expecting that every drive, every game? No, we're not. But we know that it's there. We just saw it against an NFL team. Now, yes, it may be a bottom half team, but it's still an NFL team nonetheless. So to me, I think that shows that he's capable.
for sure. He man, they had 3 fourth down conversions on that drive. He he was accurate the entire drive. There was a pass interference on Pittman, like I mentioned before, and there was two like big bugaboos that everyone's been talking shit about Anthony Richardson that he can't do: complete the short pass, and I guess stay healthy. But he was super accurate. He found Alec Pierce on 4th and goal, basically for the game. You don't
Yeah,
make that, the game's over.
right.
He dropped a dime right into Alec Pierce. He had the right amount of touch, right into his hands, right where it needed to be. Pierce comes down with it. It's his stat line. I mean, there's only 12 catches to go around, but he had the important
Hmm.
he had the important one.
When it
And,
mattered, he showed up.
yeah,
And that goes to show, though, these are the things that we all know, and I know his coaches are telling him, hey, we need to work on this stuff. So these are the things that you can see the improvement,
mm-hmm,
right? Like we talked about, he's not going to be amazing right now, but he's showing those little improvements. Hey, I can change. I can do better at this. I can do better at that. Those are what you want to see in your franchise quarterback. And I was skeptical because, like, what, a week ago, 2 weeks, the past couple of weeks, I've been saying he can't make that soft toss throw. That touch just isn't there. But what's crazy is that's the easiest throw to make in the whole NFL. Every
mm-hmm,
quarterback will tell you that's the easiest one to make. I like the fact that he's cleaning that up a little bit. I'm not
yeah,
saying he's perfected it, but he's cleaning it up, and I like to see
yeah,
that, especially from your franchise quarterback.
yeah. And he had before we keep talking about that last drive, that touchdown pass to Jonathan Taylor, he was basically getting like he was almost to the ground. He had a defender just about ready to he was going down for the sack. He put like perfect loft on it, lobbed it right where it needed to be,
Mm-hmm.
right to Jonathan Taylor. He was able to finish it off. I mean, that's that touch that we're talking about. He didn't rifle it at him. He did exactly what he needed to do on that throw, right where it needed to be. So we can see him cleaning up that part of his game, and I really like about him. When he's running the ball, he's not. We did a whole discussion about sliding and everything. I mean, you can imagine it was about 15-minute discussion about Aziz, but so we're not going to get into that. But I like that when he's running the ball like a running back, he's acting like a running back.
Yes, yes.
Like he's protecting the ball, lowering his shoulder, bracing for the hit, and just trucking over him.
Well, he's not he's
That's how
not
you should.
being scared. Like, he understands his role. Okay, like, how's it go? He understood the assignment when he tucks that ball. Hey, I'm doing my best JT impersonation right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for, let's be fair here, Anthony Richardson's a thick boy. All
Yeah,
right, it's not like he's Trevor Lawrence out there just skinny, right? Which due
sunshine.
respect to Trevor Lawrence, like, the dude's a good quarterback, but
Yeah. Uh,
Anthony Richardson's a thick boy. All right, the boy's got some muscle on him. That's the only reason why we saw Andrew Luck, why he had so much success on the ground.
mm-hmm.
He's a thick boy, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't skip a day in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm cool with that. If you want to take off, but make sure you're staying in that gym, keeping that size up so you can take those hits.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these ain't little nobodies out there playing linebacker. I mean, these boys will light you up. Ask Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that whole thing. We already did a whole. I mean, it's been talked about relentlessly.
Well, I'll make my
I'm
comment.
done.
If you take off and run, you are a runner now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you slide late, that's on you, bro.
I just don't like that Aziz led with his brace on his arm.
Fair enough.
I don't. That's one thing
Yeah. I can see the sides of both. I can see both sides and why they're fair arguments, but they do need to make quarterbacks understand when you take off and run, you are not a quarterback anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You are now a runner, just like a running back. If a running back makes that play, that's ain't no different.
We're gonna talk about
go ahead. Sorry.
We're gonna talk about it. Fuck it. We're gonna talk about it. So many times you've seen a quarterback and they don't want to get that late hit. They don't want to, defenders, they don't want to get that penalty. So when a quarterback's like running to the sideline and he's running, it looks like he's going to go out of bounds, so the defender pulls off. And then that quarterback sneaks in a few more yards before someone pushes him out. Like,
you know who's popular with that?
From then on.
Who does that shit all the time?
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, and he gets away with it every time. But I'm not upset when players want to go ahead and just make that tackle, because players like Patrick Mahomes they're manipulating the system. Now look, man, hey, the rules are there, manipulate the rules, whatever. They made the rules, so they can't be mad at it when you manipulate them. But you can't be mad at the defender
when someone lays your ass out.
Exactly. You cannot be mad at the defender for not wanting to take that bait, because he's seen it on film way too many times where just cut right back in where I look like I'm going to the sideline. Sorry, man. Now, this was not that situation. I get that, right? But from what I could see, it was a late slide. And these two athletes, these guys run. These ain't like you and me out there running at each other. These guys they're running fast. You don't stop on the dime like that. You can't even like hurry up, try and get out of the way that easily, especially when you're that close. So there's no way that Alshire saw in time, right? In time that, he's going to slide. Let me pull up. Like, no, you're already going full speed. That ain't happening that close. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And when you look at how he slid, and it's all happening. I mean, that from slide to hit was a second. Like, of course, when you slow-mo it makes it seem like it's a lot longer. But when he starts his slide and he tucks his right leg behind him, he's still completely vertical. Like, I don't know, man. Like, in that forward momentum on the defender, you can't just stop. Like,
right.
And I'm sorry, when you're still mostly vertical, it is what it is. Like, I don't agree with Aziz. I do think he had time. I mean, I feel like there was enough time between the start of the slide, whatever, just based on the rule. But dude, when he threw his forward, and we talked about this again on AFC South show, where I don't think the 3-game suspension just came from the hit. I think it's the repeat of things that he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And also, he kept trying to stir up fights well after. Like, he did not get out of the field after the
That didn't help his case any. Yeah, that did not help.
If he just did the hit and then took his ejection and left, he probably gets a game.
Yeah.
But it was all the bullshit that he did after that really led to the 3 games. So,
yeah, after something like that, you gotta play politics after that. Like, okay, crap, I just did something. I need to play this cool. I need to play this off, so I won't get more penalties, more fines, what have you. On top of that, more suspensions. Because I think if you played it right, or not played it right, but just played it cool, like, hey, felt remorseful, all that stuff like that, then we'd be looking at a 1-game suspension. But in the heat of battle, things are different. Okay, that adrenaline's flowing. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about right freaking now. So, I mean, I get it, but somebody's got to go and get in his head by, hey, you need to chill out, because this is about to get bad if you keep it up.
Yeah, and D'Amico Ryans isn't helping his case either. Like, he's not even really saying, our guy was competitive. He made a mistake. I stand behind him, but it was still, still a bad hit. He did break the rule on that. And I don't appreciate the fighting out. Like, he's like basically just saying, it was all Trevor Lawrence's fault. He shouldn't have, and I don't want to be a victim blamer. Like, the first thing I said was, well, Trevor Lawrence shouldn't have been on the field in the first place. That's not to excuse what Shire did, but he had no reason to be on that field. Like, their season is lost. It's over. He's already hurt. They said he already needs to have surgery on the shoulder. This is a coaching staff that isn't going to be there, so they don't give a shit.
Right.
This is like an audition for next year to see if they can get onto a team. So, yeah, they're going to roll out Trevor Lawrence. I think at that point, that's when the GM or whatever owner was like, "Yeah, you're fired. Like, we're going to bring in an interim guy." Because why would we roll out our almost $300 million quarterback on a pointless thing where he's already hurt? It's
Exactly.
at that point there should have been. I think there should have been terminations. But like as soon as they said, "Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to start," fired. No, he isn't. No, he's
Yeah.
going on the IR. Have your surgery and take care of yourself.
Right.
That's
Your season, you have nothing to play for, man. Like other than pride. I mean, that's which that's important too. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be the laughing stock of the NFL. I mean, it's not like
well, that's
no
the
disrespect, but
Titans.
yeah. I mean, right now. I mean, historically, look in the past 20 years who've historically had top 5 picks, but that's neither here nor there.
That's the only time it was the Titans.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, I feel for Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, I like him. I think he's a great quarterback. I've gone on record plenty of times saying that. I think Alshire is a hell of a competitor. I hope that he learns from this. I hope that league can learn from this and make some adjustments. And I hope that Trevor Lawrence can learn to slide a little sooner. That
And
way,
actually slide. Like
yeah,
if you look at football isn't baseball, but if you look at how a baseball player slides, he's almost always like horizontal.
yeah, right,
Like
right.
he was, like I said, he was vertical
Yeah,
and just as
shoot those feet and go
yeah,
horizontal. Yeah.
that's not because as soon as you start doing that, the play should be over.
Trevor
But if a
Lawrence played
defense,
baseball. He knows how to slide.
yeah, I like I said, I think he was just trying to gain a few extra yards.
Right, and I get it, man. I get the competitive nature of the game, and as the
Yeah,
quarterback, the whole team's looking up to you. If you're going to lay up and be soft, then they're not going to respect you. So I get it. Like I can see all different sides of every argument. It's just controversial right now. And
yeah,
what's funny is in 2 weeks we won't even be talking about this. We won't even think about this.
yeah, yeah. But back on track, back to the Colts Patriots. So we were talking about that last drive, and he throws that beautiful pass to Alec Pierce, got the touchdown, whatever. Shane Steichen's comments were after the game, fuck it, we're already down here, let's go for the win. Like, we're already there, let's do it. And at first I was like, dear sweet, every time it seems like he's gambled, it has not paid off. I was texting
Yeah.
in our group, I was like, man, like, just and hindsight, he definitely made the right decision. I couldn't even be mad at him if they didn't make it. But what I loved about it was, and we'll talk about the offensive line here too, but what I loved about that play was he put it in the hands of Anthony Richardson. He and Quentin Nelson led the charge. And to me, that was a kind of a redemption play for Quentin Nelson because of how bad he played against Detroit.
Yeah.
Like he's the one that helped lead to that 2-point conversion to win the game for him. So the offensive line played much better. I was so happy that Dalton Tucker was not there. I called it before the game. They elevated Glowinski to the active roster. I'm like, he's probably going to start at right guard because Dalton Tucker was cheese. Sure enough, it was Glow, and he was the highest rated Colts offensive lineman in that game Sunday. So I think he's earned a starting spot through the rest of the season. I'm not saying he's like the best right guard in football, but he was infinitely better than whatever Dalton Tucker was doing on the field. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Danny Piner at center. Both, obviously, Kelly, who we'll talk about in a little bit, on IR. Bortolini, I can't remember what his injury was, but he was not active. So it came down to the third string, Danny Piner. I think Ryman was at left tackle, and they put Goncalves at right.
Yeah, it definitely was a was a smorgasbord of
Yeah,
linemen. It was interesting to say the
yeah,
least of how they were gonna place people and how they were even gonna play.
yeah.
I mean, I went in hopeful but not very optimistic.
I'm just going to leave that comment there for a little bit because of the
Sure.
accuracy. There was a few seasons ago, I can't remember the lineman's name, but someone actually went into Wikipedia under his name and changed him to he's the human traffic cone who plays for the Indianapolis Colts. I can't remember the lineman's name, but it was one of the funniest damn things that I'd seen. if anybody out there is watching this, you can go ahead and change that to Dalton Tucker. He's the new human traffic cone. It was bad. He was really bad. And it was nice to see competency again at right guard. So it was nice to have him back. It really was.
Yeah, it definitely gives us some things to think about going into the offseason, about how we want to work things out, especially with some of the injuries that we've had. I mean, some pretty crappy injuries. I mean, I feel like things could. I mean, the running game. Don't get me wrong, the running game did good, but I feel like the running game could have been better, and even the passing game, given our young quarterback more time. But I mean, that's the name of the game, though. Injuries, and then the second rule of that is, man, you got to have depth. And I think for what we had and had to work with, I think they did really well, and good for them. I'm happy that they went out there, they put some good stuff on tape, for whatever their future holds, whether they stay, they go, whatever. I'm just glad for the remaining of the year they're with us. They look good. I don't want to say they look great, but they look good. They look good.
I mean, it was against a bad Patriots team, but they
Right.
did. Aside from a lot of the defense, they did what they needed to do to win. There were points where the offense was stagnant. There was another offensive pass interference. I think this time it was on Pittman, and it was a little more egregious. So I think this was actually one of the better officiated games I've watched. Now they called like an offsides that I didn't really agree with. I thought he just got a good jump, but I could see the argument. I mean, otherwise, I feel like this was a very, very well officiated game. Um, and I don't say that just because the Colts were only penalized twice and the Patriots 7 times for 88 yards. But it seemed like every time that there was a penalty, it was a legitimate penalty. Um, it was just kind of surprising that the Colts were in. I mean, look at time of possession. It's been the ongoing theme of the Colts where they only hold the ball for 25 minutes. A lot of times they just can't. They can't convert a third down. They can't keep a drive going at least for at least one or two third downs and then punt.
Yeah.
It seems to be their biggest Achilles heel right now is just maintaining drives. They obviously did it there at the end of the game. I think it was like a 5-minute drive, 19 plays. That's not easy to do. I don't care who you're playing against. So, I mean, you put a drive like that together to basically win it. And I'm not going to lie, when the Patriots brought out that field goal kicker for the 68-yarder, my butt cheeks clenched just a little bit. Oh man, it was.
Well, historically, the Patriots have always had great kickers. I mean, starting with Vinatieri, who became a Colts great as well. And then was it Gostkowski after that, and they had him for a long time. So you got to respect Patriots kickers. They definitely scout them well.
Yeah, it was. I think if it was like a 63-yarder, he probably hits it. It fell not very short, and it was right on my. As soon as I saw how straight it was, I was like, Jesus Christ! After all that, we're gonna lose on a 68-yarder.
Yeah, that's a hell of a way to lose.
Yeah, thankfully that didn't come to fruition, and he missed.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was happy to see that. But yeah, if you just look at it, just the stats, pretty much in every aspect, the Patriots dominated the game. Aside from like fourth down efficiency, pretty much every other stat was lean to the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, they did very well in the passing game, specifically to their tight ends. I mean, it's like that. I mean, we couldn't stop their tight ends
or their running backs.
yeah, their running backs that did pretty well. I mean, Drake May definitely showed out pretty well. He looked good. And so if you're a Patriots fan, you got to feel pretty good about the future of the position. Plus, I mean, there's a guy they got late in the draft too that's not too shabby. The kid from Tennessee who's got a cannon for an arm. But for the time being, Drake May is going to do well for the Patriots. I mean, they got some players that I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad they haven't figured out who they are. They got a young man by the name of Kayshon Boutte out of LSU, who was the next great LSU wide receiver. as a freshman, and then of course LSU went downhill, so naturally his stock went downhill. Why he didn't hit the transfer portal, I don't know, but I'm glad the Patriots haven't untapped or haven't tapped into that potential because the kid's really good.
Yeah.
And they've got other players like Javon Baker, Jalen Polk. I mean, they've got good receivers, good talented receivers. And I'm just glad that they're focusing using their tight ends right now and not those guys who can kill people in the receiving game. So I'm okay with the tight ends getting a lot of production. I mean, what Hooper Henry got 7 completions, Hooper got 4, but Hooper went 4 for 4 and the touchdown. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean,
what I want this coaching staff to do is, and particularly Shane Steichen, is look at what the Patriots did with their tight ends. Do that here. It was I mean, like you were saying, they had 11 catches for over 100 yards between their tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
I'm pretty sure we had a season high of targets to our tight ends too.
Yeah.
I didn't look at that. I'm just looking at it based on the lack of tight end usage for the Colts throughout the season, and they had 7 targets against the Patriots. So, I mean, at least they're acknowledging they exist on the roster.
They don't exist in the wild, the gremlin.
Crikey.
We just basically dressed up a houseplant for this AFC South show. That's all it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. Like, I think we definitely need to take another approach to our tight end room because, I mean, yeah, okay, we had some drops, man. I get it. Ogletree and Granson got some drops, but then you've got a plethora of them. Use them. If not, then get rid of them and get some other wide receivers because it's not like they're in there blocking.
It's shit like this on the internet why sometimes the internet's a wonderful place. I don't know if I'd ever use that analogy ever.
Pubic hair on a frog.
I don't know if I'd ever say that.
That's funny. I like that. Yeah, it was definitely when you talk about his penalties, I think the Colts did pretty good as far as like being disciplined. Didn't get too antsy, knowing it's Colts Patriots, right? Now none of these players, I don't know, maybe they watched old games, I don't know, but I don't expect any of these two teams to know anything about this former rivalry, this old rivalry. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a rivalry anymore. Maybe for the OGs like you and me, but
I look forward to these games, and I always hope the Colts whoop their ass.
Oh yeah, because to guys like you and me, it's still Manny versus Brady. Yeah. In our heads.
It's almost like the Cowboys. Like I can never see a scenario where I root for them. Like,
no.
Yeah, like if it were Patriots Cowboys in the Super Bowl, I mean, I feel like we all lose in that situation, but I would probably be the only time I would root for the Patriots.
Just out of respect for the rivalry, yeah.
Yeah,
and my hatred for the Cowboys. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that too. Yeah, so I mean, this was a good game. It was a second, fourth quarter comeback in 3 weeks. I mean, he's built a lot of good momentum, and I think that 19-play drive going into the bye week is something great to build on, leading into a tough Denver matchup after the bye. But that's a really good place to leave it, is on a drive like that. So hopefully they can carry that on into Denver and not come out, stall out and be stagnant. But yeah, what Bayshawn's saying, Juju Brent's back for the Denver game. That'd be really nice. We were talking about it pre-show, and I'm hoping Juju Brents can come back after the bye. Definitely need him against Denver, but I think the ground game is going to be far more important in that game. I know this isn't really a preview, but it's a bye week, so we don't really have anything else to do. So Josh Downs would be very important to that offense, and obviously add Juju. I think him and Jalen Jones would be a much better secondary than with like Womack.
Yeah, for sure. Downs has become like the focal point of our passing offense.
Yeah.
I mean, even missing those first couple of weeks, I mean, he's come in and been our top wide receiver. So missing him hurts. You can tell that's we're probably less, maybe 6 points a game missing him. And for them to come out and say that it's not clear whether or not he's going to be back after the bye week, that sucks, man. Because we can't afford to miss any games, miss any people.
Mm.
I mean, it's win out from here on out.
It's like the playoffs start after the bye. Is really what it is.
Every game is like the playoffs. I mean, there's no next week. You know, like one of my favorite movies, The Replacements. Gene Hackman telling his replacement players, "There is no tomorrow for you people. You're very dangerous." You know, so I mean, they're right. If you drop one game, you're done. So gotta win every one. Denver's gonna be tough.
There's still an outside chance that they could, but if they lose one and they
because you never want to put your fate in somebody else's hands to say, oh, we're only going to win if this team loses. Nah, man, handle your business, and then that's all you can do is handle your business. So win out, do your thing. Denver's going to be tough, man. Like, Bo Nix is looking really good, and I wasn't crazy about Bo Nix, but he's looking very accurate.
The Mac Jones Jaguars, come on, bro. Put Trevor Lawrence on IR.
Not beating the Jags, they're going to win. Hey, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, maybe we'll
Heisman finalist. Heisman finalist. But yeah, dude, like Denver's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Sean Payton beat us in the Super Bowl. Of course, a different team, but same coach.
I hate him.
Sean Payton knows what he's doing, man. But I mean, I don't know how to put it, man. I just can't. You can't look past Denver, and I don't think they are. I think I like the fact that this is the biggest test they're going to have down the stretch here, and they're coming off a bye week, so they're going to have plenty of time to prepare. So I'm down with that. I'm happy about that we're going to have lots of time.
Outside of Denver, I think the combined winning record is like 15-34 or something like that going into these last 3 or 4 games. So they have a very favorable schedule to do it. Yeah. And I can't pretend like the Colts aren't 6-7 right now, but I mean, they have one of the easiest last 4 games of just about anybody trying to fight for a playoff spot. So it's doable, but they just, like we were talking about in the preview to the Patriots game, they got to put it all together. They didn't even do it in this game. Like they had flashes here, flashes there. Defense didn't really have any flashes, but there were flashes. Like there was that interception. It was a great hit by Zaire. That whole interception, everything just worked out together. That's like the only time I've seen them play complimentary football was like that interception in that game. But beyond that, it's just they can't just put together one effort for 60 minutes. They haven't been able to do that all year. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they get that figured out in the bye. Hopefully we get some of these guys back. And I think Ryan Kelly is probably the strongest, I think, chance to come back after the bye from injured reserve. So, maybe he'll be back under center for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, not to get too far ahead, I know we still are going to do the preview show for Denver, but I think the key to winning that is going to have our defense get in Bo Nix's face. Mm-hmm. I mean, he played in college for like 10 years. I get it. But he's still a rookie in the NFL. So all that college experience is gone. Now you're playing with grown-ass men, the real deal, the best of the best. They're going to have to get in his face and get him scared. We've got the front line to do that, though.
We see that every time, and he does nothing with it. Like Gus Bradley will not change out of his scheme, and he will not adjust at any point in the game, no matter what the game pace is. Oh yeah, they're running ragged over us. Same thing. Like there's just no adjustments with him, and I hope that Shane Steichen kind of reins that in, because it's getting really really freaking old.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see Gus Bradley staying too much longer if he can't get his crap together. I mean, you've got one. I mean, I get you're the defensive coordinator. You've got to oversee all different positions, but if you can't trust, okay, my secondary coach is going to be able to implement my plan or whatever like that, your individual coaches, then you need to correct those. If not, or address those issues. If not, you're going to be the issue to be addressed.
Yeah.
So even if it's not Gus Bradley, it's still Gus Bradley because he's the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
and then that's Shane Steichen.
It's Shane Steichen, right?
Like,
so
you're not holding Gus accountable. He's not holding his guys accountable. So is anybody going to hold any of these guys accountable?
Right. It's not Shane's job to go to that linebackers coach and say, "Hey, coach, you need to do this." No, it's his job to say, "Gus, get these linebackers in line," and then Gus go do it. Now, I'm not saying that's not what's happening. Maybe it's Gus calling bad defensive coverages. I don't know, but I know it's not working. I can tell you that much. It's not looking great. Now, every now and then he gets a good play. I don't think it's really a lot him. I think it's more of the players make good plays because the good players are showing up and helping out.
The plays that really sting, like in that Detroit game, there was a couple of 3rd and longs. They just ran the ball for a first down on 3rd and long. Like how does that even happen? Like that's inexcusable. How are they I can't remember what game it was, but it was like 3rd and long. It wasn't Detroit, and they still let it. It was like 3rd and 19 or something stupid. Still picked it up. Like how?
That should never happen in the NFL. Never.
And it's like, yeah, they're going to pick this up. Like, I didn't even have any doubt that it was going to happen. Like, of course they're going to pick it up. Oh, there it is. They're wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's no blitz. Like, they're running wide open, and you're not getting any pressure. I bitched about this for the last year, and Gus Bradley won't listen to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry if your secondary isn't doing it and your front 4 aren't getting home. I mean, that's at least get in the quarterback's face.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're going to let up the big play, at least get in his face. Let him know you're there. They're not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots don't have a great offensive line. There's no reason at all why Drake May shouldn't have been on his ass a handful of times.
What was it? 80% completion?
Yeah, Drake May did awesome. 24 for 30. Yeah, he did awesome. So we clearly didn't do enough to pressure him. But then again, like we said, he was utilizing those tight ends. Now, I don't know if that was planned that way or if he was just hurried up and just dumped it off. I don't know that. All we can go by is what we saw on the field and what the stat sheet says, right? So if we're in his face, then yes, he should be going to the tight ends. So I'm gonna lean with that we need to get more pressure on the quarterback. And I know we say this every week, but it's true. It's the one thing that's not happening. And I believe that is why the quarterbacks are doing well against us.
Yeah. I'd be hard pressed to find where they had a really good game against a quarterback. Except I think like the Bears. I think they did all right against them.
Yeah.
And then you go back to that first Jaguars meeting, and that was historically bad. I hate bringing it up, but it's like this defense has been consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's been tough to watch. Like, they just at this point don't look like a playoff defense at all. So if they somehow can, like, their offense can put it all together, drag them into the playoffs, it's like, do we really trust this defense to even win a game in the playoffs at this point?
Well, I mean, and going back to what I said earlier about the players making the plays even on bad coverages, I mean, Blackman getting that interception in the end zone. I mean, this game could have looked totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that goes back to he did what he needed to do. I don't believe for a second that defense was called for that coverage. I mean, I think Blackman just made a play.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
No, I mean, it was a touch. I mean, it was either a touchdown or down at the 1.
Yeah.
Zaire just made a good hit, popped it up, and it just kind of the bounce of the ball went to Blackman. Like, it's just
like our players are saving Gus Bradley's ass.
Yeah. Like that was first and goal with the 1. If not a touchdown. So
yeah.
Yeah, they bailed him out a few times, and of course the Patriots bailed him out too. So
Yeah, I mean we've got the, I don't say the right players, but we're on the right track. So we've got the right players in right positions. We've got a couple more gaps to fill, which hopefully in the draft next year we're going to address, especially the secondary, and maybe add another linebacker. But as far as
yeah, or
Grover Stewart,
safety or
DeForest Buckner, Latu, like I'm pretty happy with our defensive line.
yeah.
Um, I just think the scheme, we could tweak the scheme a little bit, and maybe a few more stunts, things like that. But I don't know. That's something that the team is going to have to address in the offseason, because clearly we didn't do anything at the trade deadline. Looking at you,
Never do.
Ballard. So yeah, yeah. Historically, he never does.
Yeah,
But yeah, wants to do all in.
all in,
But
baby, no moves.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, when
and
you said that, I was like, you're not gonna do shit, are you?
mm-mm.
And
Yeah,
we
that's
were
all. That's we say coach speak, but I guess for him it's GM speak.
yeah, like we were all pissed off that Ballard didn't pull the trigger on Snead. I mean, it was probably for the better that he didn't. I mean, it obviously didn't work out very well for the Titans. He's sitting on IR. It was probably for the best that he didn't make that trade. But damn, man, it would have been nice to see some effort, see something to go and get a corner, especially after Juju got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna bring up Womack from the practice squad. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
it's not good to have that lack of depth. I mean,
yeah,
you need depth, man. I get it. Not every player is a starter, but you got to have a player that has the capability to go in and start for you and be serviceable. I'm not saying
mm-hmm.
go out there and be uh, a
Grayson.
star. You know, right? I'm not saying go out there and be a star, man. I'm just saying go out there and not lose the game.
Yeah,
Be serviceable. But
like,
with the league, man, if you're serviceable, you're on an active roster somewhere.
mm-hmm.
So you can't expect to bring somebody up from the practice squad that's ready to go, bring them up on Thursday and they're ready to go on Sunday. That's not the way this league works, man. Like there's a practice squad for a reason.
Unless if you're Glowinski.
Yes, yes, there are outliers. You're totally right on that. There are outliers. I stand corrected on that. But as far as DBs and stuff like that, it takes time. And I get you're on the practice squad, and Glowinski wasn't on the team that long
No, they
to
just signed
learn.
him like a little bit. I think they signed him to the practice squad like the week before they elevated him. So he spent that week on the practice squad. Dalton Tucker looked like ass, and then they elevated him. I think a couple of days before the game, and then said,
Yeah,
you know what, you're our starting right guard this game. He made the
a
most of it.
And look, the man's been in the league long enough. I
Yeah,
mean, he was able to pick the offense up and run with it, and he improvised. And I'm sure the guys on the line next to him were helping him out in the huddle. Hey, look for this, look for that against this person, whatever, because they did all the scouting or whatever. But I mean, yeah, like outliers like Gawinski, like those are great players to have, right? But you don't always get that kind of luxury.
yeah,
I mean, a Glowinski isn't always going to be out there, but I don't know. The depth is something we're going to need if we're looking to make a push. That's like I said, that's something we got to address in the offseason. I mean, it's too late to deal with that now. Like, who
yeah.
are you gonna go pick up off the street that's better than what we have now? Nobody.
No one.
Exactly. So,
There's a reason they haven't been picked up yet.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, like you said, I hope they address big time secondary in the draft. I don't care. I don't care if all the picks go into the defense. I really don't. I think offensively, for the most part, they're okay. I mean, I'd hate to say wide receiver, but AD to this point, he's made a couple of big plays, but he's also dropped a lot of big plays.
yeah,
Alec Pierce, yeah, I mean, he's taken leaps and bounds this year. Pittman, he's been hurt. Um, and Josh Downs is obvious. I think when he's on the field, I think he's right now like the best AFC South wide receiver,
yeah,
in this division. So
yeah,
um, I'm not tight end. Draft a really good tight end. Like that's other than that, it should be defense. Honestly,
yeah. If a top lineman falls to you in the draft, I think that's kind of a no brainer because we've seen in the past that linemen can change the foundation of a team.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with the Cowboys 10, 15 years ago. Like every year in the draft, they started going lineman, lineman, lineman. The first round, the fans booed it because, of course, the fans want that marquee player. They want
It's
this.
not flashy. It's
But
not
you
a
know what?
sexy pick.
Right, right. But them taking Zach Martin, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I remember watching that draft when they drafted Zach Martin. The Cowboys fans were literally at the draft booing because they took Zach Martin. And look, now that, oh, he's so great, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, this and that. Like, hold on, you weren't saying that when you drafted him.
Yeah.
Okay. You were looking at right now, you weren't looking at tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then Ezekiel Elliott was running behind huge buses back there.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's just like
if
a
we
lot.
can get a lineman in the draft, let's do that.
I remember people being mad about the Quentin Nelson pick, and it's like, yeah, you just picked up like the best left guard in the league, and our line it's terrible.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and you have to look at
the
that.
sexy pick, but he was the top of the position. Like, of course they're going to go with him. Our line was awful.
Yeah, and the offensive linemen are going to last longer, which is weird. Like they're going to last longer than secondary guys, which is weird because these guys, I mean, they're going against some of the biggest dudes in the world. I mean, these guys are monsters down there.
Yeah.
But I mean, historically, you look at it, some of the best linemen and stuff, they've survived the test of time.
Yeah.
One, because they're just so durable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And DBs, I mean, I feel like DBs are interchangeable. Like teams are just like, okay, you're not doing good. You got somebody that you didn't get this interception, or they got a touchdown on you. Okay, next guy up, right? But
I thought he was out of the league like 3 years ago.
Yeah, Ebron. Yeah, I guess he finally hung him up. I don't understand. Like, at what point did you think you were gonna get a phone call? First off, too many players have the ego complex where they fail to realize that they're not cutting anymore. I mean, if you still want to play, there's other options out there. I mean, there's the Canadian League, which those guys are pretty good. We've gotten a lot of players in the league from the Canadian League, and then you've got is it XFL now? It's still XFL, right?
I think they joined.
Them and
they joined with the
USFL.
USFL.
I don't know if they changed the name or not.
Like the UFL, Unified Football League.
So yeah, it changed the
mistaken.
name. I do remember they changed the name to something, but my point is so because the NFL is behind the times and doesn't have a developmental league, this is supposed to be, from what my understanding, supposed to be kind of a feeder league. Go there and see if you make a roster there, right? And if you are seeing, hey, I can't cut it with these young guys, then look, man, like you were a second round pick. You had a good run. Look, there's no shame in it, dude. Like people know who you are. You're fine,
Andrew
man.
Luck made Ebron. He came from Detroit, was ass.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even use Ebron that much. They just really used him in the red zone. He just got a shitload of touchdowns because Luck loved his tight ends.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even with us, he still had a lot of drops too. Like Ebron wasn't. All he got was some touchdowns because of Andrew Luck. Beyond that, he still wasn't a very good tight end.
Yeah, and Andrew Luck gave him his biggest year in the NFL.
Yeah. Then he went off and did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yeah. But he was one of those guys that come out as a good prospect and then they just don't ever work out. And it happens. I mean, that's the league. That's the league, right? That's why we say what happens in college doesn't matter. Like you win in a Heisman, okay, cool. You get to be on a Nissan commercial every year.
All I'm gonna say is Manziel won. Look, I'm sorry. As soon as because my buddy is a big Aggies fan, and he walked out, he's like, yeah, he was like hooting and hollering at the Texans for not taking Manziel. I'm like, dude's a fucking bust, man. Mm-hmm. And he comes out onto the draft stage. Yeah, bust.
That right there should have told the Cleveland Browns should have bowed their head like, oh, we messed up.
Release him.
Yep. Do a little Eli Manning trade real quick.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, because Andrew Luck's dad, Oliver, was actually the commissioner there in Europe. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm glad you said that. I forgot all about Europe, man. And my apologies, because there were some decent players that played out in Europe.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Colts are rolling into a bye week. Hopefully they get healthy, get a few players back, and get ready for Denver. So I think we're gonna obviously no really need to do a preview episode of a bye week. Kind of what this turned into. So we'll probably be back next week before Denver. I'm guessing probably Friday, maybe Saturday for that one. But I think it's a good place to wind up. I am tired of shit and got to be up at 6 a.m. So I think it's a good place to wrap it. Justin, thanks for taking time to be on here, man.
Yeah, man.
And thanks everybody in the comments joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks for interacting with us. It's always a lot more fun to talk football when there's a lot of people to talk football with. I know you guys can't. It was never the Titans. Yeah, it never was. I know you guys in the comments can't subscribe any more than you already have. But share it. Maybe your friends will subscribe. Like, notification bell. We appreciate all the support. We really do. But yeah, until Friday before the Denver game, y'all be good people. We'll see you next time. Go Colts.
Go Colts.
For the shoe, baby.